going here. Ready? Okay. Good evening, folks. Matthew, would you lead us in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, call to order the regular town board meeting, Town of Johnsburg, on Tuesday, November 19th. Before we get started, I'd like to change things just a little bit. As the board starts to go through each item, if you would allow us to discuss it. And then when we're finished with that discussion, if you wish, raise your hand and weigh in. But when you do so, one of the complaints we're getting is that the people who are watching YouTube can hear us, but they can't hear you. So if you raise your hand and wish to address one of the things we're discussing, please come down to the podium and speak into the microphone. Okay. All right. A resolution to acknowledge the changes from the preliminary budget to the adopted budget. I need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
Move.
Second.
All right, there is one piece in here that I do want to bring to people's attention. Under A1220.1 Supervisor Personnel Services increase from 30 to 35,000. I recuse myself from the discussion, but because we're voting on the budget, I have no choice but to vote on this. So just everybody's aware of that. Any other discussion or comments?
On all of it, are we starting the discussion on everything now? Or just the first part?
That was just the one point I wanted to
Okay,
point out,
okay.
that was the one thing that I recused myself from the discussion, but I have to vote on the budget.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any other comments on general fund, highway, library, fire, EMS, and water? Questions or concerns?
I think I think we're all on the same page about the supervisor position needing to be increased. I think there were some really good comments last time about, instead of just having a number thrown out there, that we as a board should have a collaborative conversation about this and a plan going forward, whether it's a dollar amount every year or a percentage every year, so that there is a plan in place when we're not here of what this is going to look like. Because as we all have said, this is a position that even when it's combined with the salary from the county, really needs to match up with the duties. So I think after we go through this, I think we should have a conversation as a board about what our plan is going forward.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Anyone from the audience? Arthur, you got, if you're going to talk, you're going to have to speak into the microphone. That's what they're telling us. They need to hear you. Well,
Quick question, the Hudson Headwaters, that's not going to be in this resolution?
so that contract as of December 31st can be null and void.
Right.
We are going to pick a dollar amount. We initially discussed $10,000. Arnold is meeting with his group tomorrow, and he brought up a wonderful idea, and that is, should we go with a $10,000 amount? Maybe what we could do is that could go towards home visits as opposed to people, elderly, having to drive to the health center.
Good.
And I thought that was I think that's an amazing idea.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. But it doesn't need to show up in this resolution, the decrease.
I think it's huge.
It is the med center right there. It doesn't.
It's called the Med Center?
I believe.
That's the budget line.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Never mind, I got it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right. Oh. All right. Seeing no more conversation or comments, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution adopt final budget. Let's see. Approval, I need approval of the minutes for November 7th. I need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
Motion?
Second.
All right. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Got to vote on the budget.
I thought we did.
No, that was
That was just
acknowledging the
acknowledging.
changes.
Sorry, my apologies. I thought we did vote on the budget. Okay, so resolution to adopt the final budget. I need a motion to bring that to the floor. Oh,
Motion.
sorry. Here it is. Yep, my
Motion.
apologies. Okay. Any, okay,
Who was first?
Jim,
Jim.
Thank you.
any other concerns or discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Okay. All righty. Resolution for the OCTAX award. Andy, you want to touch on this for a moment, please?
No, I think we just move it to the floor and we can.
Okay, all right. Need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
Motion.
All right.
Okay. All right,
All right.
so I will read it, and then have the notes from the committee to read on top of it. So, the TOME application was written on behalf of, Adirondack Life and, Co-op Advertising. So the committee's recommendation was to grant $525 to, select businesses to be used for half-page or greater advertising in the combined Johnsburg campaign to be published in the summer 2025 edition of Adirondack Life. Their recommendation is for the award amount represents 1/2 of the estimated advertising cost. It is the opinion of the committee a flat award to each business is fair and equitable, and then each business should bear some of their own advertising cost. Their total award is $4,200. Their businesses to be included in their recommendation are Gore Mountain Mineral and Gem Shop, ADK Glass Blowing, I Confused Myself, Adirondack Labyrinth is the same as Asa Adirondack, Revolution Rail, Hart Gallery, Tannery Pond, North Creek Depot Museum, and Beck's Tavern. Their recommendation is to exclude the following 3 businesses. The Wolf Den, this is a single short-term rental and not an attraction or a thing to do. The committee does not see how an award would serve to bring people to town. Gore Mountain, ORDA has a marketing budget. The committee does not see this as a suitable candidate for occupancy tax dollars. However, that's sort of a moot point because I believe Gore cannot even accept tax dollars as a state entity. Front Street Development, this is a real estate development and not an attraction or thing to do. The committee does not see how an award would serve to bring people to town. They strongly feel that occupancy tax should be used to attract people to town and only businesses with an ability to do so should qualify. During our deliberations, we discussed the possibility of expanding this to other businesses, but decided that including non-applicants would open up a Pandora's box. So I am also on the occupancy tax committee, so we had a back and forth about this. Steve Tome has no problem opening it up to other applicants. He would ask that everybody would have their information to him by December 1st. It would be no issue to him to take on other applicants. I also think that to say no to anybody who falls under the See, Shop, Experience, and Eat umbrella, which does bring people to town and is additive to the experience of Johnsburg and promotes the town, doesn't really make sense, especially when there were no real parameters set around this advertising campaign. I think certainly going forward, there should be much more structure around it. But at this point, if Steve is willing to take on more people and they fit under that umbrella, I don't see why we would turn down businesses who want to advertise in a campaign that promotes our town. And certainly we can set a cap on that, and we're setting a timeline of when they would have to do it, December 1st. And we can say 5 more businesses are allowed to add on. I would also point out that the other large ad, which was our reason for only giving $2,000 to the Tannery Pond, has withdrawn its application. So that was my recommendation to the committee. I would also point out that the committee does hard work. They spend a lot of time thinking about this. Pushing back on their recommendations and having a conversation is not undermining them or anything of that. It's part of what we do as a board. So that is my addition to the conversation, which is why when you look on the resolution, there is room to add businesses or to add that line, and the total amount not to exceed should we choose to allow additional businesses to jump on.
So if we really don't know who else might join in, it seems like, are we putting the cart before the horse with this resolution?
No, you could cap it. I talked to Janae, you could say, you could add 5 more businesses and you could cap it at however much that would be. So if you allowed 7 more businesses to jump on, you would say not to exceed $7,875. So you would cap it at a certain amount. And so no more than that could be spent on this occupancy tax award. And you don't know, maybe 5 more businesses jump on, maybe 3, maybe 2. But it allows up to a certain number of businesses to send their information to Steve Tome by December 1st.
Who would determine the appropriateness of the grant? So other businesses go to Steve Tome.
Greg.
Steve Tome
Oh,
then, or
Greg, I'm
Greg
sorry,
Tome.
I'm sorry, I
Greg
keep,
Tome.
I've
Brother,
said, yes.
two
So,
Tomes in town.
so now people can apply to Greg Tome for an OCTAX grant, or we're giving him the authority to make the determination of whether or not an applicant is appropriate.
No, they would pass it along to the OCTAX committee. It would go on his spreadsheet. He has an Excel spreadsheet, and he could pass it along to the OCTAX committee to look at.
Guess I'm just struggling with the idea that we're going to add and we're just kind of leaving it open-ended. I don't know.
Or we think, or the other option is to think about, because I don't like the idea of saying no to anybody who was put into it. I mean, I understand the thing about Gore, for sure, they can't even take the money. But if somebody wants to advertise and there were no parameters set around who could or could not advertise in this advertisement, I think if they're giving 525 and they're picking 2 to exclude, it feels a little.
Anybody else? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I'm kind of just at odds with it, I guess.
I think there's a workaround. I want to take a step back. Though. When I started coming to board meetings and looking at OCTAX grant awards, there didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to the awards. So everyone that applied got an award, and if there wasn't enough money, then many times there was a % reduction across the board and people got awards. A year ago, no awards were made because there was no committee. And we have a committee now that's in place. They went through the county guidelines, they went through the town guidelines, and they developed a metrics and a scoring, and we've tasked them with taking a certain amount of money from our OCTAX money and distributing that. I'm uncomfortable with changing their recommendation solely because we've approved their metrics and scoring that they use. And if there's a problem with what they're doing, we need to change the metrics as a board to give them the tools to do it. An advertising campaign, and again, Anna and I had a conversation of the marketing committee and, and, and possibly awarding the marketing committee a grant for a campaign, that then the marketing committee can oversee and open it up to businesses. I would be open to awarding as the committee recommended without changes, and then possibly as a board, allowing for applications to come in specifically to this, to the committee with a deadline of December 1st, that then we can go back and revisit and vote on, or let them make a recommendation on. I'm not comfortable, at the last meeting, we made changes. I'm not comfortable doing that here. We've entrusted this committee. We've approved the tools that they're using. And if we're going to direct more towards advertising, we need to create the tools that can be done and be open to all businesses that qualify.
Bless
That's
you.
true.
You know, I think of our rafting companies. Our rafting companies aren't represented on any of this. How is the information getting out to the businesses of this opportunity? Everyone applied, and the committee made awards based on those applications. Opening it up and just allowing someone to say, yeah, I'll be a part of that, kind of defeats the committee's working purpose.
So I do want to say that the committee is not tasked with awarding the money, Jim. They are tasked with making recommendations.
Yep.
And as the elected officials, we are tasked with awarding the money. So again, we are absolutely allowed to make changes to the recommendations.
Sure.
The committee's word is not the end all and be all, and I think that's a really important thing to make very clear. So I agree with some of what you were saying. I do not think excluding two people when there was $525 was given, except for Gore, I understand the Gore thing because they can't take the money anyhow. But if everybody got $525, I think that let's give it to the other two. And I will agree with not opening it up to other people. I can see how that could get tricky. But the Wolf Den, if they want to advertise and there was no parameters given to them to not advertise as a small business,
It's an Airbnb.
it's an Airbnb that has a business in front of it. They were not told that that was something that they couldn't do in the parameters of this advertising.
So we're going to allow for Front Street too?
I mean, I don't know. They're taking out a full, no parameters,
All
you
right,
know.
then we've got it, all right. You know what? I think we go with it as is, but what we do is we've got to make changes to this because Front Street doesn't need tax money,
Well,
in
then-
my opinion. I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm not so sure that they need it.
But if we give it to a
I-
small business,
I
think that
I
is-
understand that, but I think we need to tighten this up.
Okay, and I agree. I think for the next time for this application, 100% needs to be tightened up. There needs to be parameters when they put it in.
All right, okay.
But are we comfortable adding the Wolf Den?
I guess, yeah. I mean,
The
The-
committee, so my understanding is in this award cycle, over 50 hours of time was spent by committee members to deliberate this. We're spending 10 minutes. Again, they've done their work, they've done their homework, they have their reasonings. And I am reluctant to do that. A question for Arnold. In years past, do you remember ever the board denying a recommendation or changing a recommendation of OPCAT?
Yes, I can't speak specifically as to when and where. I mean,
I was
yes,
one.
there have been There have been times when it has been refused, and there have been times when it has been changed, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
My idea, I don't care for the fact that we're looking at the short-term rental. We have how many in this town?
That
They're
was,
gonna be clamoring for money for, I can't see that we should offer that, especially seeing as they have decided that they're not suitable for it. I believe we should go with their recommendations on this one. This is gonna open up a can of worms because we have over 400 short-terms in this.
any other members of the board wish to weigh in on this? I've said my piece. Peter, you have to, yeah, please come on down, and then Matthew, if you want to speak, all right?
Peter Horvath. I'm glad I don't have to speak about the EMS. Just for Jim's point, how did this information get out? Because was on the board of the North Creek Business Alliance that was the initiator of this. An announcement went out to anybody that's on that mailing list to see if they were interested in being involved in this. So that's how that information went out, the request. I was wondering, Anna, I know North Creek Farmers Market was on there, and I didn't hear that in the list you read out. So I was wondering about that.
I believe there's something in, we have something in the packet. No, there was some, I
No.
saw some, as far as for the farmer's market,
Yes,
catch me afterwards. I'll sidebar conversation, okay? I can tell you,
Yeah, it wasn't on the list that I got, no.
no, but I've already sort of, I believe, taken care of. Matt?
Hello, everyone. Matt Byrne, Johnsburg resident. I will only say that I would love to see more businesses funded for their advertising dollars in any marketing campaign possible, with the caveat that if we're going to open it up to additional businesses, putting in, I'm okay with the cap as long as the board has direct involvement in improving who is added to that application. If the board chooses to delegate to the occupancy tax committee, that is also acceptable to me. So I guess the second part would be that I don't see short-term rentals as being a valuable part of our occupancy tax spending. I don't see how $525 could possibly pay us back with the bed tax that a single Airbnb generates in revenue. I'm not all about return on investment, but I think that is a huge component of occupancy tax. And if we open it up to short-term rentals, how long will it take us to get that $525 back for one rental? Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Please, Judy?
I'm Judy Brown. The occupancy tax is supposed to bring more tourism to the area, and that's the goal of it. All of the other ones that got the award are attractions, and that should, if they all advertise together as attractions, I think that there's a good chance that it will do what we want it to do. So I think the other two, I understand why they were left out.
Anyone else? How do we want to handle this, folks? I mean,
Keep
I'm,
as is?
oh, sorry.
We can bring this to a vote and approve this and instruct the committee that if anyone else wishes to join in the advertising campaign, they can put in maybe an abbreviated ad
Mhm.
or application into the OCTAX committee. have a deadline for it, and then they can bring that and we can approve additional businesses.
So we
Okay.
have to put we have to put a cap on that, which would mean we have to decide how many maximum we'd want to add on to it.
I don't necessarily think we need to cap it. We can have them get applications, and if there are more that want to join
Yeah, if we get
over
a-
and above the 4,200, we just do another resolution to approve those additional businesses and joining.
Join them, okay?
Yeah,
Right.
and add more money.
Okay,
Okay.
so we have to put the 4,200 in here then, so not to exceed 4,200. We have to add that in.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. All right, any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay, seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, next is approval to authorize to proceed with ordering fire doors for Tannery Pond. Pete, do you want to just speak to this for a second? I mean, this has been on the books for how long now?
It's been almost 10 years. 2015, I think, was the first time the town board was made aware that there was an issue with fire doors in this building. And I would like to rectify this finally.
Mhm.
We've gone through great lengths to get good quotes. We have 4, and the company that we would prefer to go to is called Canco. Looks like there's a typo in the resolution. It's not Danco. It's Canco. What is it? Canco Supply Corp of New England.
A C or a K?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Down, it's spelled correctly.
We looked at both wooden and metal doors. We've ultimately decided to stick with the wooden look that we currently have throughout the building for the 5 doors that are in gross need of replacement. The doors can be within about 3 weeks, which means we can get it done this year. Last year's board set aside $10,000 specifically for this purpose. It had to be carried over to this year, and I want to very much get it off the books so we don't have to carry it over again.
Got it. Okay. 1 second. Any conversation or comment from the board? Any comments, concerns? No?
Glad it's getting done.
I just wanted to put community in there, Tannery Pond Community Center, so again, we're talking about the building.
Got it. All right, we'll make that change. All right. Any other discussion or comments?
Did we bring it to the
No,
floor?
bring it to the floor. My apologies.
Motion?
Motion, bring it to the floor.
Second?
All right. Any other comments or conversation? Okay, seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next, resolution to authorize an additional job code to pay for pay rate for William Welch.
I got it.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. William Welch is our zoning officer who works part-time. He is a skilled carpenter. That's been his trade. He's fully insured carpenter. Pete went out and got bids for installation of the new doors. He got 2 and then didn't bother to get a third because they were over $3,000 for installation of the doors. No, for the 5 doors that were going to be put in. Between William's skill and help from a town employee, we should be able to get these doors in for close to $400. So he's got the money in his buildings personnel budget, and we're going to make a line item so that William can do that work in that job with the help of another town employee, and we'll get those done.
Okay, need a motion to bring it to the floor, please.
Move. Second.
Okay, discussion, comments? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, resolution for Highway Department to purchase tandem truck out of equipment reserve. I'm going to speak to this for a second, Fred, and this is, got to make sure that people know this is permissive, correct? Yes, okay. Oh. Sorry, chief, we're being told no one can hear us.
We're looking to replace one of our tandems that we have now. We have an 01, an 05, an 08, a 10, 13, 14, and two 23s. The 01 is actually, doesn't get used very often, so it doesn't have a lot of miles. My 08, after discussing this with my mechanic, he said the one that we should get rid of would be the 08, and this would be we buy a new tandem, we'll get rid of the 08 truck. It's been giving us headaches, nickel and diming us to death. It's time for it to go. It's rusting, and this truck, if we order it now, it'll be a year before it gets here. I got 3 quotes on trucks. This was 312. There was one for 330. There's another one for 334. And we can save $8,100 on this one if we pay for it when it goes to Viking to get equipped with the box, the plow, and everything else.
This is also subject to permissive referendum, so people are aware of that. We need a motion to bring this to the floor.
You have,
Second,
Discussion,
This has been long discussed with the highway. This is actually just, we have, as the committee have discussed it. And really, we do need to keep our equipment up, and because of the year lag on this, we've already got the money set aside now. You said also this money can sit and collect interest in that year, correct? Yeah, that's good too, yeah. We should order.
okay,
I just want to point out, the work of, I know Justin Gagnon was on the highway committee before. I know Arnold was on the highway committee before. They work to put money aside into a reserve fund for this very purpose. So saving up and then spending the money on something as opposed to taking a bond out for it. I want to say all around the work that Fred did, previous board members did to set this money aside so that he can, make sure that his fleet is getting turned over and replaced at an appropriate time. It's good, solid financial work. So.
okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Board discussion on solid waste.
Yep. We have a solid waste committee that started this in January to look at ways to improve our solid waste in our transfer station and then recommend some changes. We started with this year with free garbage for household waste. In looking at numbers, I can see back at what former Supervisor Smith was doing when he said that we can offset our household trash with C&D by charging for C&D. Looking at those numbers, if we had C&D, we probably would have offset our household trash. What comes up short is a little bit of, or not a little bit, but a large part, what's not covered is some of the hauling costs that have escalated and also staffing for our transfer station. So personnel costs. As a committee, we wanted to look at numbers and analyze numbers and see what the numbers were saying and the impact that maybe free trash had on some of the numbers, what was going on. So that was a goal we wanted to look at. We wanted to look at ways to improve uh, our transfer station. We wanted to look at ways to improve both how things move, flow, our vendors that we're using. um, and also look to see if we could improve our stewardship of the planet. So in looking at the numbers, what we have found is we've seen a reduction in our C and D and an increase in our household trash. We've seen a small deduction in our recycling. And without analyzing every bag that goes in there, what we
Anecdotally.
come to the conclusion of is that people are using the free trash as C and D, breaking up things, putting them into smaller bags, and then disposing of them free and not paying the C and D rates. Most likely, there's no incentive to recycle if you can just throw it all away for free. So it doesn't matter if it's a glass bottle, it doesn't matter if it's heavy or light. Put it all in one bag and make it disappear. So as we looked at the numbers and wanted to create a solid waste system that was fair and equitable to all users, improve our environmental stewardship, and help cover costs, that's really what our discussion centered around. We hadn't disposed of tires in a really long time and had a pile of tires because it would have cost us $15 a tire to get rid of, while we only charge 5 or 6 for someone to drop off. So with the work of the committee, we found another option. We were able to get rid of those tires at a much cheaper cost. So that's the work that the committee has done. Where we're at is we're at a point now where the board needs to think and decide and answer questions on the direction the board sees our solid waste and transfer station going. And what I mean by that is, do we look at trash as a service in which the town pays for through taxes, and then people can dispose of their trash? Or do we look at our trash as a vehicle or a mode, an end user fee for people to get rid of the trash they've generated? If we continue with free trash, the taxpayer bears the brunt of the removal and disposal of that trash. If we turn it into a user fee, the user then pays the fee for getting rid of trash. Then there's an incentive to get rid of the glass. Take the glass out. Glass is heavy. Compost. Don't put your coffee grinds, and I'm guilty of it, in your trash. Compost those coffee grinds because they're wet and heavy. So by charging people for their household trash, you, one, more equitably hit the user with the person that's generating it, and also encourage recycling. So it really becomes a board philosophical discussion of what we want to do. The committee has a recommendation But before we get there, I really think it's important for the board to have a discussion on its thoughts and ideas.
Was it in the budget as a revenue?
Yes,
So it's a moot point in a way, because if it was in the, if we just voted on the budget and it
Yep.
was in there as a revenue, then we're talking about charging.
yes and no. It was put in as a revenue.
It's right
Um,
here, right under.
Absolutely. Yeah,
where
no,
is it?
there,
Was it the 89,500? Where is it?
yes,
So it's in our revenue is 89,500.
yeah,
So we're anticipating that
yes,
based on charging 15 cents a pound
for C and D.
for C and D.
Yep.
And what about for household garbage? Is that included in our budget?
Yes, it is a charge.
And so where is that in our budget? Is that?
It's all together
So that's all together.
collectively.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, the philosophical argument we can have, but it's in our, I mean, we're including it in our budget. So,
Yep.
I mean, the philosophical argument would have been nice to have before we voted on our
Yeah,
budget.
last year there was X amount of dollars budgeted
Yeah.
for solid waste and we didn't get anywhere close to it.
Yeah.
So we didn't meet the budget.
Yeah. So at this point, we just need to really get a letter out to everybody, kind of letting them know that this is probably coming down the road in a sense. I think at this point, if we have it in our budget, we voted on this, it's sort of anticipated coming. That would be where
Right.
my thought is.
One of the points that I have to make on this also, if we're giving away free household garbage for people, those that pay for pickup, like Casella and stuff, we're subsidizing the other people to drop their garbage off. I don't really think that's fair. I'm looking at it, from that side of the point, I pay for my garbage at my house, my place of business, and my mom's. We all use one. And it's not a lot of money, and the convenience is there. But regardless, I'm paying to have my garbage picked up. Therefore, the people that are dropping it off for free, I'm subsidizing them, and I don't necessarily think that's correct. It's a cost, should be borne by everybody, the end user. That's my thought on that. It will also encourage, I hate to say it this way, but really you're shaming people into going back into recycling, being a little bit greener again by leaning on their pocketbook a little bit, making it aware that it's not the right thing to do is to throw it away just because it's the simplest thing. And I think that will reduce the amount of household garbage we have when people get back to that.
Could I ask a quick question, only
Yeah.
because I'm involved in it
Yep.
so much? Were the $75 free cards that we used to give out for several years, even before I was here, was that taken into consideration that that's not money that we're giving away any longer? That would have been a lot of money if
Yeah.
1,000 homeowners used that 75 free dollars to bring C&D there or whatever, that could have been a huge expense as well. Was that taken into consideration?
Yeah, I don't think those cards were taken into consideration. Yeah, so, and there was no discussion on those cards.
Have the scales been installed?
Yep.
And they are in working order now?
The only thing I'm not sure of, I haven't seen the C and D scale.
The scales are operational.
Right.
However, we cannot charge across them yet because the county has not certified them.
Will,
Any idea when?
will those same scales be used for household garbage? Can they be used for household garbage?
If someone came with an entire truckload of household trash, they would use the 40-foot scale. Otherwise, we have the 4-foot scale that we've been using and collecting data on since the
Okay.
end of summer. Both will be certified by the county on
Okay.
the same day, and then both can be charged across. Likewise, the 4-foot scale, if somebody comes with one item or a couple of smaller items of C and D, they won't need to use the big scale. They can weigh on the small one. So I'm told we're in the queue to have those certified. I'm hoping it's within the next week or two. And then we can begin charging for one or both at the board's discretion.
Well, I'm kind of following up on what Anna had said. As long as we have the scales, we are anticipating using them. So it's kind of a moot point as to whether, I mean, we've already voted on the budget, so.
There was also discussion amongst the bookkeeper and myself, because the cards expire December 31st, and we've had some folks coming in asking if they can get their new cards, and I said, that's not an option I have at this time. Maybe doing up a letter and
Yep.
having Todd hand it out at the transfer station for those
Yep.
people that are using it more than just
Right.
doing a mass mailing in the community. Those that he sees every day or are there every other day, start that way, handing out a letter that as of whatever date, it would have to be January 1st.
Newspaper, putting it in Stewart's, putting it in, getting the information out as much as possible, because if this is the route that we're going, which I don't think there's another option, Jean and, Joanne and Todd and Peter going to be the front-facing people who are going to deal with folks who had something free that is now being taken away. And we want to make sure that even if it's just a month, that people have as much notice as possible, because
Mitigate
they're
that.
going to
If,
have to
if,
deal with that.
yeah, as a committee, we looked at, we gathered data from household trash. If we were to charge 15 cents a pound equal to C and D for household trash, a 40-pound bag of trash, which is a considerably large bag of trash, would be $6. So it's similar to the 2 tickets that you used to get. A 20-pound bag of garbage would be the equivalent to the 1 ticket. So pricing wise, it's really kind of going back to where it was for household trash. And what we'll be able to do is more accurately measure our C and D, which we have never been able to get a good handle on. Today is not to set rates. So we don't have a resolution to set rates. This is a discussion. The committee agrees that we need to get information out, and the sooner the better. And
I
we
think by
can
the
s-
end of this week, Friday, we should have a letter drafted.
So with no rate set.
Oh, no, that's true. We can't.
You can't get the information out without rate set, so.
How do we do that without, so we have to wait till the December 1st meeting to make a resolution? Make a floor.
Someone wordsmith,
Chat GPT it right now. I got it on my phone. Write a resolution. So could we,
if you
We have
want to
to-
set rates now,
I mean, do
But
we have to,
can't keep waiting. I mean.
No.
we need to
No,
set
no,
rates now and then we can write a letter. But do we have to have a floor resolution for the letter? Or can we
We
just
have
write?
to have a floor resolution for the rate.
Rates.
So what was the
Okay.
rate that the committee wanted to do? That you guys, what was the rate that you all had talked about?
we had talked about 15 for household trash, 15 for C and D. Equal amount.
Yep.
And that way it prevents C and D from going into household trash.
Sure.
All right.
I mean, that's one of the things the committee has
And is
looked
that,
into,
and
but
is that what and that's what our number in the budget was sort of based off of? Well,
similar.
if that's what the number in the budget was based off, I think that's what we have to stick with.
I would ask the committee members to please chime in if
You got it.
Peter, could you, yep.
Yeah, Pete Hoskins, I'm chairing the committee. Glad to work with a great group of people, by the way. The 15 cents for each of household trash and C and D is consistent with Warrensburg and our market around us. It also is consistent with the actual cost and pretty close to what we are doing on a weight basis with what we had under the tag system. One thing that's really important to understand is that we wanted to get away from a very, very arbitrary system where you bring in a sofa, whatever, this and that. You have no idea what it weighs, but we're paying by the weight. So we wanted to get to a system for both household waste and C&D combined, which is 80% of the cost of everything. The recycling part is another issue, by the way, a big issue, but from a cost standpoint, 80% of our household waste and our C&D combined is the total of our waste. And until now, both of them were based on either a bag and the size of the bag or whatever item it happened to be, none of which made really much sense because we were paying by the weight. So we've looked at everything through weight. And the recommendation to pay by weight comes out at the price that we're talking about. Now, one item that we hadn't talked about, which is being discussed now, is how do we deal with the $75, is it? The ticket that homeowners had each year. We could, this is just, I'm talking off the top of my head, but
You want a floor resolution? Is that what, I'm sorry, Gina, is that what?
Yeah, I mean, we can keep adding and adding and adding if we want to do the other card or not, but we need to do the 15-cent floor resolution
Okay.
for household.
Okay.
that's a separate thing. But all I'm saying is that if you wanted to have a way of dealing with homeowners who want to clean their house once a year, and that's what the $75 was kind of for, right? You could offer a $75 or $75 worth of weight for the same thing. You could do the same thing if you wanted to. That's just,
Okay. Yeah.
and maybe we could cost that out in terms of what it would really cost. I might also say that we have been working with the county, and one good news is that we're getting rid of waste management.
Hauling charges are
And
gonna go
the
down.
county is now going to do the hauling for us. And the hauling costs are by far the biggest problem. So we will save $20,000 to $25,000 a year starting January 1, when the county starts hauling instead of waste management. So that's like,
And that could be used to
Yeah.
subsidize the trash cars for the house.
if we wanted to do that.
If you wanted to do that.
That's just an option.
You know what, guys, let's go with the 15 cents per
And then
pound
we could-
resolution.
and then
We can deal with that at another
But I
time.
like that idea. Let's put it,
Okay, all right.
I'm in agreement with Gene that the most important thing is to get the information out. Just a reminder that the board had originally said the hope was to begin charging the 15 cents per pound for the C&D as soon as the scales were ready to go.
Right.
It sounds like we now want to launch everything January 1st.
I think so.
I think so too.
So that should be.
Yep.
Yes, in the
absolutely.
resolution. Yep.
Okay, so,
I'm just going from my time on the board.
Yep, no, thank
No,
you.
that's,
We appreciate it.
You would verbalize the resolution here, making sure that everything that was needed to be said is said. Setting 15 cents a pound for household.
as of January 1st,
January 1st.
2025, we are going to charge 15 cents per pound for household trash and 15 cents for C&D.
And
And-
then the resolution can be written, printed, nicely.
We can do that tomorrow.
Okay, all right,
And as the numbers work out, what we're proposing at 15 and 15 basically is in weight, the equivalent of what we are paying for until this year.
okay,
Okay.
all right. So we have that. I'm gonna,
I have a question of mechanics.
sure.
I have a 20-pound bag of garbage. I have a $20 bill in my hand. What happens?
So one of the things that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be using, I can't remember if are we going with Square, are we going with?
You've already authorized the
Yep.
addition of credit card payments.
Yep.
At the
Yeah.
transfer station.
Yep,
The credit card readers in hand, we're still in the process of setting it up with Community Bank. It's a system where I guess, credit card So you will be able to go into Gene like you always have, purchase either the cards, or I believe we still have some stickers left, maybe? Are we getting away from those?
No, I have about 5 years worth of stickers that were purchased a couple years ago.
So you will still be able to use cash in town hall to pre-buy those, and we have made a change with the yellow card to get from 10 $1 increments to 20 50-cent increments, because there will be a little bit of a rounding issue. If you have a bag that costs you $1.51, we're gonna charge you $2. If you have a bag that costs $2.10, we're gonna charge you $2. So there's gonna be a little bit of a rounding issue there, but the credit card payment will be there for anyone who wishes to use it. And then holidays, weekends, days when the town hall isn't open or available for someone to buy prepaid with cash. Again, it may not be a bad thing to put off everything until January 1st, because we do need to get this credit card machine set up and have time to train on that as well as the scales. So.
So I keep my 20 pounds of garbage in my car. I come to the town hall with my $20 bill, and there I make my deal. And then I go up to the landfill, or up to the transfer station.
We have looked at it, the committee has looked at it at length and discussed it at length, taking cash up there. It is something that I think will continue to be discussed. And my personal opinion, we may get there, but right now, logistically, it is not, aside from the security issues and putting our staff in a situation where they're accounting for cash and things, it also creates a ton of work for town hall, for our town clerk. She is all of the money for the town passes through her, and we are trying to use a system with a credit card machine to not overburden her or any one person in town hall. Again, it's not gonna be a perfect system, but nobody, up to this
Understood.
point,
No,
nobody's been able to use cash up there.
I just wanted, one
Clarity.
clarification on that, so
Right.
when the information goes out,
Right, yes.
that it can be paid for by
Okay,
somebody
so,
who don't have,
Somebody's point up there, maybe it was.
that'll work.
If you guys set the rates today, then my hope is that later this week, the sort of, don't take this the wrong way, anybody take any offenses, but the people that need to be in the room together, which I would say at least me, Gene, Danae, maybe a representative of the committee, Pete, Jim, somebody, the people that need to be in a room together will be in a room together, hopefully the end of this week or very beginning of next week. We'll get this letter hammered out, which will come back to the board
We can,
to approve before it goes out.
Yeah.
And again, my recommendation is we do anything and everything. So maybe in your resolution, Kevin, if you don't mind, include the ability to place an ad. I think we should send the letters. I think we should place an ad. I think we should make flyers for Gene to hand out when people come buy their cars. I think Todd should be giving them out up there, like Anna said.
cover,
Stewart's tops.
yep,
Post
Yep.
them in town.
Yep.
I think it
Okay.
should be everything.
all right,
social media,
Yep.
Social media,
I can put it up at the school.
website.
all right.
Yeah.
So it is 15 cents. So as of January 1, 2025, 15 cents for C and D, 15 cents for household garbage. A letter will be drafted to get out to members of the community. And we will make sure that, place an ad in the paper, and placed on social media sites. Okay, we good?
If we do an ad in the paper of some sort, we're probably looking at $400 or $500 to place the ad.
Even in the sun,
Yes.
Really?
It's not a help on it, it's not a legal ad. Hmm? Mhm. They're very specific now. Everything we do is online. I can't speak to a person. It's either a legal ad or a help wanted ad. So if I put it in as that, there's still a $20 fee for the affidavit, potentially a $200 or $300 fee for the ad itself. So, I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. We can place it.
Can that go out as a news release?
let's see if we can get it to press, see if they'll do a press release.
Anyways,
Yep,
And we, we're just saying, I mean,
Well,
What you need to do is go more directly to use their, we'll have signs there. You could even send postcards to every household for cheaper than an ad. Pretty close.
okay.
So we can find better ways.
Yep.
All right.
Tom Randall just did the article not too long ago. I'm sure that the Sun would pick it up if we got a hold of Tom Randall. If we wanted to do the letter in the form of a press release, I'd be happy to send it to him and see what he says.
All right. Okay.
Jennifer, did you have?
Did you have a? Oh, yeah, no, that we have no intention of charging for recycling at all. It's just, right. No, it would be not be free. Yeah. So household, which basically would not, so excluded would be glass, metal, and plastic.
Paper,
Cardboard, paper. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm thinking about the big ones. Okay. All right. We good?
Thank you.
All right. So I'm need a motion to bring this to the floor.
You got it.
Motion.
All right.
Second.
All right.
A lot of good work.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks,
Okay.
Pete, for helping
Thank
walking
you.
us through that.
The committee's been fantastic. Pete Horvath, Pete Hopkins, Yuki Brown, Paul, Jim. It's been a lot of work, but I'm very proud of the improvements that we're making up there, and this is only the beginning. So thank you, guys.
Good stuff.
Thank you. All right. Now on for some fun stuff. Town of Johnsburg, Town Board Resolution in appreciation of Michael Wilson. On this day, November 7th, 2024, we'd like to propose the following resolution to recognize Michael Wilson for his exemplary service to the citizens of the Town of Johnsburg. Whereas Michael Wilson is a dedicated and proactive citizen of Johnsburg, New York, has demonstrated exceptional leadership and commitment to community service by initiating and leading a project to install 911 emergency numbers in the town park. Whereas this project significantly enhances the safety and well-being of all park visitors, ensuring that emergency services can promptly and accurately dispatch in case of an emergency. Whereas Michael Wilson's effort have not only improved public safety, but also inspired other young people in the community to engage in civic activities and contribute positively to the town. Whereas the Town Council of Johnsburg, New York wishes to recognize and commend Michael Wilson for his outstanding contributions to the community. Be it firmly resolved that the Town Council of Johnsburg hereby honor and express its sincere appreciation to Michael Wilson for his exemplary service, dedication to the community. Be it further resolved that copy of this resolution be presented to Michael Wilson as a token of the town's gratitude and recognition for his valuable contributions.
Thank you, Michael.
Come on.
I'd like to make a motion to bring that to the floor.
Bring what, this?
Motion.
We have to bring it to,
No?
It's not a resolution, it's an acknowledgement of
Gotcha.
appreciation.
okay, dear God, I was.
In appreciation of. Mike, thank you. Thank
All right, committee reports, Mr. Hyde.
Not much. Anything solid waste has been discussed by Jim, and I have not been terribly active with that. We're going to meet this coming week with a highway. We had discussed the truck and other projects that Fred's got going on. What was it you brought to me today, Fred? You were asking about, stopped at the shop to talk to me about something. I was gonna bring it up tonight. I guess I don't bring it up. We'll discuss it at the next meeting.
It'll pop up in your
It'll
head on your
pop
way
up, right,
home.
On your way home. Yep. Ms. Bowers.
Marketing, we have a meeting this Thursday at 5:30. Hopefully here because the library is booked. Bob Polero, who is bringing a race here August 16th, actually reached out to Lily and I, talking about how he can partner with the marketing committee. I know he's obviously been in touch with Jim. So seeing how the marketing committee can get the word out to businesses in town, doing some collaborative work with us on that. And so after our marketing meeting, we will circle back to him and then see how all these different entities can start communicating with each other, because as we all know, August will be here before we know it. Childcare, we're working to get a meeting with Warren County EDC to sit down and talk about if they can help us with a survey similar to what they did with broadband. The website, Danae, Joanne, and Jean have actually gone behind the scenes and looking at it, pulling out stuff that works, doesn't work, because they have the most, they do the most work with it. And then getting that feedback to the website designer before we pass it along to the board. The comprehensive plan, we are scheduling our CDC meeting in December. And then we have to have a public comment period. I believe it's 90 days before we vote. So we'll have to have that scheduled and get that out to you all, hopefully the second meeting in December. Anything with planning and zoning, announcing our new,
Oh,
we have two new board members,
oh, sorry, yes,
Yes, we-
we do. We have
Erwin Morris.
Erwin
and-
Morris and Rick Bennett will be joining the zoning board of appeals.
All right. Went over a bunch of OCTAC stuff. So as we said, we're gonna get the word out that if people want to apply to be in this advertising December 1st, we are also going to talk about updating the application for the spring round. And we are also going to be able to have it so that you can apply online totally. So it'll be much easier to do it that way. And it also will all just go directly to Joanne and to the OCTAX committee. So no more paper.
One piece on marketing, today at the Tourism and OCTAX meeting at the county, and I'm not going to remember the name of the organization or company.
Adam Bailey,
Yes, correct, Adam Bailey, and I'm not going to remember the
Northern
name.
Forest.
Northern Forest. We have been granted, the town of Johnsburg, the town of Horicon, and Chestertown, $150,000 for the three towns to basically do a combined marketing campaign for northern Warren County. So we will actually be using the expertise of true marketing, advertising experts, which I think is going to be fantastic.
And this is a long time coming. I want to say thank you to Drew Capabianca. Conversation has been happening for 2 years and a really collaborative effort. So I'm going to call Drew as soon as I
There you go.
get home.
Yep.
We'll text him because he has small children. So good news.
Jim?
Yep, parks, if you've driven down Dump Road, you might have seen the work that was done last week. A combination between Judy Brown and the Garden Club, our Parks Department, and ORDA, the Olympic Regional Development Authority. We were able to remove the scraggly locust trees that were some growing right in the middle of the, I call it the prison fence, the 6-foot tall fence that ran along Dump Road. So we've been able to remove all of the fence, pull up all the posts and remove the trees. We have a couple of parks guys, or had a couple of workers down along with the heavy equipment that made quick work of it all. A great collaborative effort to improve that area. The plan is to dig up some spruce trees from Ski Bowl Park. Judy and I did a walk and identified a bunch of young ones that raised their hand and said, I want to go to school along Dump Road. And also some birch trees and plant a row of nice looking trees along that line. So thanks to all that were involved in that. That was a huge improvement. Sewer, bids were supposed to be opened this morning. I got a call midweek last week, I believe, from the engineers. There was a lot of late activity with the sewer bids. In short, as people were finalizing their numbers, They realized that they could, because the way we wrote the bid, there was the option of going out to the Hudson with no ammonia limits, going into North Creek with ammonia limits. They figured that if they could go to the Hudson, they could reduce the size of the number of pods needed for the processing plant, or use a competitor to the Arenco system, known as the infiltrator system. The
Thursday.
two suppliers, Arenco realized that all of a sudden there was some competition. They were a little bit nervous of losing some, or of losing out on being the supplier. So they were sharpening their pencils. The engineers asked to extend the bid for 2 more days. Bids now will be open Thursday, 2 p.m. And we will see what we get. So promising news on that, that there was some competitiveness. I did see on Contract Reporter a lot of minority and women-owned business opportunities with the North Creek sewer system. So that just bodes well that some of the bigger companies are looking to get a competitive edge. And also include those other businesses.
Can I ask a quick question? There was another addendum
Yep.
that was sent to me late this afternoon. Is that going to affect the bid opening on Thursday?
I
'Cause
sure,
That's what shifted everything, were all the addendums from the.
yeah, I
changes. I just
sure,
wanna be sure.
I said this has to be a hard fast. We gotta
Thursday.
stop.
We've
Yeah,
changed it
Thursday.
multiple
Thursday.
times. Okay,
Yeah.
So Thursday at 2 o'clock.
Thursday,
you're
2
Thursday,
on.
2 o'clock. Yeah, I have heard nothing today.
Okay,
So-
yeah, I got an addendum late this afternoon, addendum number 6.
Okay,
I printed it, everything's in a box. I
Yeah.
just wanted to be sure that wasn't going to affect the bid opening on Thursday.
gotcha. Not that I've heard. I won't answer my phone tomorrow.
So who will be there when the bids are
Whoever
open?
wishes.
Yeah.
Cedarwood.
Cedarwood's
The
there?
engineering firm tabulates them, and
Yeah.
there's many, many bids, Jenny told me. Anyone can be
Yeah,
added
yeah, you
from the
can come,
town
yeah, yep.
that wants to be, but they do all of the tabulating.
They did
and
all of-
opening.
yeah.
Everything has gone to them. It's not like a little RFP that would come to
Yeah,
me. So,
okay, cool.
yeah, the engineering firm takes care of all that.
Very cool.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Town of Johnsburg seniors will be having their initial meeting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock here at Tannery Pond. And we will be brainstorming some ideas and just seeing what some of the concerns are and what direction this committee may take. So looking for some valuable input.
Wonderful. Fantastic. All right, warrants. Need a
Motion?
motion to bring the warrants to the floor, please.
Motion?
Second.
Okay. They're in front of you. Any questions? Comments? Nope. Nope. Seeing none. Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, privilege of the floor. Amy?
Amy Zavadas. I was just curious with the trash, the transfer station. Could we get one of those blue containers for clothing? Because that's, and sometimes I think you can make money on those too. I know a lot of the churches do it. I just unloaded 60 years worth of clothes from my mother's house, so it would have been awesome to have one of those there because I took down to Warrensburg. And also about composting, call Cornell Cooperative Extension. Because we have plenty of plans on composting bins. We'll teach you how to maintain it so it won't stink and you won't attract animals. And we even have worm composting right in the office and it doesn't stink. So you can do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Cheryl, if you're going to speak.
Oh, I was just gonna respond to something she said, about clothing, because the thrift shop at the Adirondack, Community Center takes clothing.
Like the,
It can still be recycled.
like the ones that get turned into rags, like the ones that get
Right.
shipped out, yeah.
And
Mhm.
and I guess you can get it even.
Oh, yeah, I know. They make a lot, they can make a lot of money on it.
They also choose, tons of fabric, things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess
Judy,
that's
come on up.
If it's not good, maybe she's gonna address it.
Turn into rags, I know what you're, yeah.
Yeah, school.
A couple of things addressing that, Amy, is when it goes to the outreach center, it goes, it gets sorted and they keep what could be used locally. And then what they have left over goes into, it can go to a lot of different places that will get money for it for, what's the place, Prospect School? Well, and they use the money toward Prospect School. We probably could, but Prospect is a good, and that way it goes through the outreach center and what we can use here in our community, clothing wise, stays in our community. Mhm. Well, we've looked into having one of those containers at the outreach too. The one other thing that I wanted to mention, that in the Adirondack Life, even if a person doesn't get money from the OCTAX, if they want to be in that ad, it's less expensive than a regular ad because it's a community ad. So a half a page ad, I think you save $600 on by being in a community ad. So there is still a savings.
Thanks, Judy.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing no further comments from the floor, I call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
It's great news about that OCTAX.
Oh,
Oh, huge.
couldn't believe it.